It is Dom time. Good Friday. Welcome in. Got a lot of stuff that we developed yesterday that I want to get to. Which presidential library, if you missed yesterday's show, really intense when these dozen or so presidential libraries came out and, they're dancing around. They do their library dance here, their academic dance. They didn't say Donald Trump, but they mean Donald Trump. And they mean if you support him, you're a threat to democracy. Well, we find out now, Dan, after reading all that yesterday, the library that precipitated this joint letter, which is unprecedented, that started this was the George W. Bush Library. Isn't that right? The Bushes, their nose out of joint because
Yeah.
their little crybaby, Jebby Bush, they could put 50 exclamation points after his name. He still is low energy. That's the only really nickname Trump ever came up with that I thought was really like Lion Ted and all. Come on. Crooked Hillary, but no, low energy. And Jeb Bush, don't.
Please clap.
So I'll get into that because, of course, Joe Scarborough and these other fake conservatives or Republicans jumped in today and they brought on their guy, not Michael Beschloss. He'll come on Monday. They had Meacham on today. And he's the big guy. He's the guy that whispers in Joe's ear, Joe, go big, spend more. You'll be FDR. You'll be LBJ. He's involved in this. See what this is about. And they think this is going to work. Who does that appeal to other than they're toasting? We got Trump, the Reagan Library. The Reagan Library coming off yesterday. I'll get to all that. And in Jersey, going to replay Tucker Carlson. Phil Murphy will never go on with anybody like Tucker Carlson again. When he had him on during COVID, because a breaking story yesterday was that the Department of Justice, the Biden Department of Justice, scathing report, scathing. What about criminal? Of what was done to veterans. Remember that? During COVID? Same kind of thing that Cuomo did, only worse, under Phil Murphy's reign. Now, we've said many times in the initial stages of COVID, all right, we were, you give some grace there. We were moving around, all that. Okay. But how come Valerie Arcouche over here, Phil Murphy, Cuomo, they continue to put people into where the most vulnerable were rather than isolating people with COVID? No. We need a commission and a day of reckoning, and the commission has to find lockdowns didn't work. This stuff was bordering the way that they did it, too. The material says that this was unconstitutional. Their rights were violated in this. These veterans are at the mercy of Phil Murphy and the people running the veterans hospitals and his administration. And look, you can make a mistake. We know that. This isn't a mistake, though. This is exactly the mentality that was operational then. Do you remember this? Here is Phil Murphy, confronted by Tucker Carlson. And Dan, I remember the premise. They were shutting down churches, but not places where you could buy alcohol because alcoholics needed to get alcohol. And Phil Murphy, don't. This is just another show I'm going on. Here's how it sounded during the throes of COVID with Phil Murphy.
By what authority did you nullify the Bill of Rights in issuing this order? How do you have the power to do that?
That's above my pay grade, Tucker. So I wasn't thinking of the Bill of Rights when we did this.
And that is to stop your right to go. That's above my pay grade. He thought that'd be pretty funny. I wasn't thinking of the Bill of Rights. Who thinks of the Bill of Rights? Who thinks about the Constitution in Jersey? And guess what? I'm thinking about that. These are the very same progressives, these people in Jersey, that are telling us about civil discord, you Trump people and all the rest of it, tearing the Constitution up. Even George W. Bush and Reagan are spitting on you. And yet, Phil Murphy, that's above my pay grade. We're closing the churches, but I want alcoholics to have a drink. Next question. Stop all these Constitution. And Dan, you know what I said then, and I'll say it again. One of the greatest examples of this, This is way back. My parents had this friend they rented from in Wildwood Crest, it was, owned the house. And I became friendly with her too. And for some reason, I think her boyfriend was an attorney. We sat in on magistrate court in Wildwood Crest. And I don't think it was her boyfriend, it was another attorney that was objecting. This was like they were taking away a license, there was a big fine. And he goes, Your Honor, the Constitution doesn't allow for this type of taking. Something like it was a legitimate point. The magistrate says, Don't you ever bring up the Constitution in my court again, banging down the gavel. And I'm sitting there saying, That doesn't seem right, does it? Well, this magistrate in Wildwood Crest, was only following the Phil Murphy plan to the Constitution. This is Jersey. We do this with muscle. Then, though, and I want to flip this to Krasner, of course. Even though they talk about the Constitution when they want to bash Trump and Trump supporters ripping the Constitution up. Oh, my God, democracy, it's fragile. It's as fragile as Joe Biden. And somehow or another, though.
It's very fragile.
Yes. When it comes to actually following that, it's a bother to them. They don't want to do any of that stuff. They want to tell you it's a living document. You know what that means? Whatever the hell we want it to be today, that's what it is. And it gets in their way. O'Reilly, of all people, every time he comes on, says that it gets in their way. He takes great relish out. He gets pretty fired up talking about it. It's the same thing with Larry Krasner. Don just making a point. He's charging this cop today, mugshots, Big McGilla. And I thought the cop, we said it then from the footage that Dan and I, we had it up on our social media. I think he should be fired for it. I think he violated their policy there. Does that make him a criminal, though? That's not where I think this should go. Plus, look at how quickly Krasner's able to move on this. Look at how he's making this cop out to be public enemy number one. And yet, mayhem goes on every day in the city, people that Krasner usually released, and we see none of this. So it brings us back to, overall support of the cops in Philadelphia. Some of that could be handled if we have a better commissioner, and I think anybody will be, almost anybody, better than Daniel Outlaw. But it comes back to trying to continue to give you hope. See, I don't need hope. I don't rely on that. To me, once the mission is set, nothing matters. I don't care if everybody else in the world says, give up on Krasner. I'm not. It's a lost cause. You're never going to win that. No. That doesn't mean I don't at times go, my God, what do you got to do to defeat this guy? I get intrigued by it, though. My anger, hatred just bottles up toward it. I don't care. Someday, some way, we're going to defeat him. But in Philadelphia, it's a tough battle. There's the anti-cop sentiment. They want to get cops. They hate cops. And this clown in Harrisburg, Joshie Shapiro, just endorsed one of the radicals that hates cops the most, Kendra Brooks, the socialist. That's what he's about, no matter how he postures. The FOP shouldn't have endorsed him. I said it then, and I'll say it now. They couldn't endorse Doug Mastriano. I get it. He's a dolt. Don't endorse anybody. Just don't endorse them. Say we can't endorse either one. Now, I realize it's a tough position. Oh, man, he's going to be governor. What are you going to do? No, he's not pro-cop. I don't care what he says in any way, shape, or form. And he's certainly not use every tactic to get at criminals, including the death penalty. So here goes Krasner again with another cop. And again, I don't think this guy should be a cop based on these actions, but that doesn't make them criminal. And it certainly doesn't make them criminal in the manner that Krasner's engaged in this. Now, I don't think this is going to precipitate rioting or something like that around this. I don't think this is another George Floyd or anything like that, thank God. But if it did, it ought to be put down. It's that simple. So, it's a long struggle with Krasner. It's not an easy thing to stop this. As much as it's obvious, he hates cops. It's his whole track record. That's what he's been about. And people in his office, they hate cops. Let's just be clear. That's what this is about. It's overkill on cops when you take a look at what the day-to-day is like in Philadelphia. So it is difficult to see. Now, I mentioned Murphy. We're going to have State Senator Panaccio on. And he came on. I went back in COVID. I can't remember the exact reason, but my memory tells me he's a dentist. He's got some medical training, just like Van Drew. And it was about ivermectin. Can you, was that what it was about? Do you know?
I'm looking up right now.
I'm pretty
I
sure.
always thought like a dentist was a very involved job, though.
Yeah, I
What are all
know.
these dentists doing with
I'll
that?
do right here. I'm signing this bill. Get Van Drew to pull that too.
All right, so
Yeah.
I have March 31st, 2020. He joined. Title: Joe Panaccio on push for hydroxychloroquine.
Ah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Similar to ivermectin,
Yeah.
hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah,
We don't
so-
hear about that as much. I'll ask him about that. Yeah, I knew it was some medication.
And he
So
also joined us in 2021, Dom, November 16th, because he penned a bill targeting critical race theory in New Jersey.
huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's going to be here because this is big. This is the federal government saying what was done here was beyond the pale in these veterans' homes in Jersey, Paramus and Menlo Park, the home of the great Edison. Okay. Not Tesla. 855-839-1210.
Tesla's better.
Yeah. So, and I sent this to you, but it was late. I don't know if you. Well, first of all, let's Dick Cheney.
I'll get that
Okay.
for you in a
Okay.
second.
Yeah. Dick Cheney now savaging Donald Trump today, calling him a coward. We'll get into that. But here is John Meacham, the big historian, on today with the. Let's play cut 9 first. Here's Meacham on with Morning Joe. Morning Joe was revved up even more than usual. The hair had even more mousse in it today because all these presidential libraries now are savaging Trump. Can you see Trump? Trump must be embarrassed. Every presidential library is going after him. Can you imagine? All right, here's Meacham telling us why democracy is under siege.
You know, most of these, the presidential libraries where the presidents are still around, you know, where the principal is still there, are different than the ones, obviously, that are legacy operations. What's remarkable about this is you have I wouldn't even call it bipartisan. I'd call it supra-partisan. Supra-partisan statement that says, yes, democracy is strong. I think more interesting is why they had to do it. It's that democracy is weak. It's resilient, but it is under siege. And these are the scholars, the foundation executives, and the presidents themselves who understand the inherent fragility of these institutions. And I think that it says a great deal. You know, if you do what I do for a living, you know, you go back and you look at what was being said at a given time, you know, looking at the front page of the newspapers to see what the other stories were. The fact that 13 former presidential institutions had to say, hey, democracy is important, pay attention to it, tells you a great deal about where we are on this early autumn morning.
Oh, that starts the book, An Early Autumn Morning. By the way, Phil Bump, one of the biggest critics of
What's
Trump.
his name?
Phil Bump. He's the big guy.
B-U-M-P?
Yes.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, he is the big guy over at the Washington Post, and Mark Levin takes great pleasure in savaging him. I've heard it 100 times. Anyhow, he says, and he even got the number wrong. He said 13. Bump said 14 presidents signed off condemning Trump. Wait a minute. They're not 14 presidents alive. Let's count them. I think there are 5, and that's including Trump. There's Carter, Clinton, Obama, Biden, Trump, Bush. Did I say Bush? That's all there are. So somehow or another, though, he said 14 presidents on Twitter signed off going after Trump here. I mean, 14 presidents now. How much more do you need? Well, here's Dick Cheney.
So real quick, Dom,
Yeah.
we're live, Dining with Dom, every day, noon till 1, youtube.com/@1210WPHG. Right now, I'm putting up this image of Dick Cheney on the board. Guy looks very angry. I don't know why. He looks like a bulldog at all moments. I'm gonna see if you can see the screen, Dom. You see what he looks like over here? No, right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see him. Yeah.
That's so youtube.com/@12WPHD if you want to see the video.
Hey, he's
aspect
got
of
the
this.
cowboy hat on, the
Yeah,
fake stuff.
yeah.
He hasn't shot anybody in a while. Maybe his daughter will do that. All right, here's Dick Cheney.
In our nation's 246-year history, there has never been an individual who is a greater threat to our republic than Donald Trump. He tried to steal the last election using lies and violence to keep himself in power after the voters had rejected him. He is a coward. A real man wouldn't lie to his supporters. He lost his election, and he lost big. I know it, he knows it, and deep down, I think most Republicans know it. In our nation's...
I thought you were putting that in.
No,
Yeah.
that was them. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
It's like I'm watching Forrest Gump.
It's endless, and the more they do, does Dick Cheney think he's convincing any persuadable Republican? Oh, Dick Cheney said it, and he had that music, and he had the hat. He's a coward. Oh, my God. Trump just sitting here typing away with both hands now. God only knows what he has on Truth Social. By the way, in case I forget, the jurors in the Georgia case, they also wanted to indict Perdue, Loeffler, the two Georgia senators, and Lindsey Graham. Now, admit it, wouldn't it be worth it to go all through this if Lindsey Graham were indicted? What were they indicting Lindsey Graham for around trying to keep Trump in office? My God. All right.
I'll tell you, us crime is a threat to our democracy.
855-839-1210. Side question today. And I have to think of mine. I wrote it down, then I didn't put in my best. I got two contending in my mind. Today is Star Trek Day. Hit us with that all-time science fiction character. Could be in any form, shape, or form, a character. I guess we should take several off the board, like Darth Vader.
Yep.
But let me hear yours.
I'll take Darth Maul off the board, another Star Wars character, and
Okay.
Luke Skywalker, I think.
Yeah.
And why don't we take Captain Kirk off? But Dom, today is the anniversary, the big day, September 8th, 1966. The first ever pilot episode, Star Trek, was introduced on American television. Today is widely known now as Global Star Trek Day, where people, who love the series reflect on it. Me, myself, not so much a fan. You ever get into Star Trek?
Oh, yeah. I love Star Trek.
Really?
Captain Kirk. Now, it's low tech. It's messed up and all that. But the tension aboard, oh, no, it was tremendous. I don't know why it only stayed on for a few years.
It's so corny.
That's part of the time. That doesn't have all the pyrotechnics.
So how
stuff.
deep of a Trekkie are you then? Like, are you a trivia Trekkie? Could you answer trivia, you think?
Maybe, because I can just answer trivia, but...
How about, would you go to a convention and dress in, one of the outfits?
No.
Put on ears,
No.
No? Okay.
But I mean, think of something. Spock is an all-time character.
Yeah, let's take Spock off as well.
Captain Kirk, sure.
Yeah.
All right, so it's 855-839-1210.
Chewbacca. I'm going to take Chewbacca off.
Okay.
Too.
All-time sci-fi character. Now, it can be from a book, a film, a TV show. There are several that are tremendous.
I watched Spaceballs this past week again since like the first time since college I've seen it. I love that movie. You ever get into like the Mel Brooks kind of satire?
I like Mel Brooks a lot. Yeah,
but not Spaceballs.
I don't.
That's like it's a direct parody of a Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah, by Mel Brooks. Rick Moranis' Dark Helmet. So I'm gonna take Dark Helmet off the board as well.
All right, so you got a wide field there right now that you can hit us with. And this presidential library thing, on Monday, we're going to talk to Mike Huckabee about it. He said some pretty tough stuff about the election of 2024 and cheating, and Alan West also. So, but for now, we'd love to hear from you. 855-839-1210. All right, Jim, quickly, you have one and you can imitate him?
Oh, 1 sec. Let me get Jim ready to go here. Sorry about that. Don't have it, Tom.
Okay, one more coming up. All right. We'll hear from Jim. 855-839-1210. Jump in on all that on Talk Radio 1210. Dom Giordano's show. A point of order before we go forward here. This police officer, has been charged with murder, voluntary manslaughter, aggravated assault, simple assault. You know, the voluntary manslaughter, something of that nature. But murder, I believe that means murder in the first degree, right? Murder. That means he could go to jail for life or in some far, far away land, get the death penalty. Wow. Philadelphia probably celebrates certain segments then. They hate the police. The Democrat Party, up and down the line, hates the police or are enablers that allow the core of hate to completely dominate. That's what it's about. You don't hear anybody. Who are the voices speaking up and going, whoa, you know, we're not condoning every action of the police or this cop necessarily in this, but murder versus Krasner's record. Who in Philadelphia? What voice out of all these millions of people? None. Except this station, the FOP, people of that nature who make that point, and some outside observers. I'm saying in the city of Philadelphia, it's just a mob masquerading as a political party or as a media. They're a mob. That's all that they are. Now, we have this woman in Minnesota who was one of the leaders of Defund the Police. She's out today, though, with this letter supporting police and calling to get these criminals off the streets. Why? She was carjacked, the city council person, at gunpoint in front of her kids. In defending them, ends up with a broken leg and other vast injuries. Why did you want to defund the police? Is that what it takes? Would that even work? If you support Krasner, you hate the cops. If you support the Democrat Party, you're providing for the vehicle that hates the police, no matter how they couch it in any other term, shape, or form. That's what it comes down to right here in Philadelphia. Murder in this case. This is a murder. That means you could get the death penalty under Pennsylvania law. You know, if voluntary manslaughter were charged here, something like that with Krasner, I don't see that, but I see in a court of law how there's debate. Okay, murder, though, and they love it. We can't get enough of this. That's right. If we put enough cops away, we won't have to worry about people killing each other as much, really. All right, you got the side question, 855-839-1210. You get on board right now with that. And here is Morning Joe himself, Joe Scarborough. Now, at least I give him credit. These others are trying to have it both ways. Everybody knows they're attacking Trump with this presidential library stuff. Everybody knows and Trump supporters. That's what they haven't been saying. Democracy was fragile, even though Joe Biden doesn't know where he is, and Kamala Harris, no one has any confidence in her. Suddenly, though, Trump looks like he could win again. Democracy is at risk. Here's what Scarborough said.
Claiming the mantle of Reagan conservatism when it's as far away from Reagan on certain views as humanly possible. I mean, you could take anywhere from immigration to trade and even guns at the end. I mean, it's certainly Ukraine. So it's very interesting that while they're not being specifically ideological on one point or another, there is no doubt that when you go speak at the Reagan Library's made it very clear they do not support what is going on in the Trump wing of the Republican Party.
Well, too bad. Reagan was wrong on immigration. Yeah, that's right. Ronald Reagan was wrong on immigration. He's the one that signed the big amnesty bill for millions and millions of people. And Morning Joe just left out, at some point in an interview, he said that was the biggest mistake of his presidency. But his overall thrust, he was wrong. He was wrong on trade. We have to talk about that today. Trump not only stopped this unending war stuff, and Republicans have to be on board with that, but Trump also made the point, no, not on my watch, not free trade, fair trade. Americans in those Rust Belt cities were being killed by all these policies where a bunch of Mitch McConnell-like Republicans could tout that as a mantra, and they weren't losing out. the people that want to import cheap labor and all the rest of it. Doesn't threaten their jobs. They're Republican lawyer, fat cats, Bushes, McConnell's, his wife, etc. Trump even called out the wife. Oh, my God. Can't do that.
Where's Will Smith?
Wayne Chow, yeah. Yeah, yeah, Mitch McConnell will walk up and slap him. All right.
Freezes on his way.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
that's true. 855-839-1210. All right, we're going to need a ruling on this first one here. I don't think it qualifies, even though it's a great. We'll see what Dan and Jim say. All right, side question. Great sci-fi character on Star Trek Day, Joe in Columbus, New Jersey. All right, Joe, who do you have?
Dom, he's not the character, but he's the facilitator. Imagine, if you will, at 3:00 today, Rod Serling.
All right.
I take it. I think it works. No?
Yeah? How come? You think he's a character, too, in his own way?
So I would probably take Alfred Hitchcock as a character if we were doing, who's a great horror character because of his role in Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you.
So I think Rod Serling qualifies as a good answer.
All right, Jim, does he qualify?
It's true. Yeah, the Man on the Plane. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the movie.
Out there.
The movie. Not a fan of the movie.
It's all encompassing, guys.
All right. Well, I'm surrounded.
I think it's a good answer.
I feel like these are presidential libraries snipping at my heels here. All right, we'll take
I
Rod
don't think
Serling.
sci-fi would be what sci-fi is today without Rod Serling.
He's all-time great.
So,
yeah. Just smoking the whole thing, All right, so we're going to talk with State Senator. State Senator Joe Panaccio coming up. He was with us early on and through the middle of the COVID situation, talking about hydrochloroquine. He's a dentist, I believe, in addition to great state senator. He's out there today saying not enough now is going to happen. People are saying, wow, the Biden administration, they went after what happened during COVID with Murphy and the veterans' homes. Yeah, well, what's the cost to Murphy for that? What happens for that? All right, 855-839-1210. You get on board here on Talk Radio 1210. Let's talk FanDuel first. Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off the NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now, I really like the FanDuel app, and now's the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use. You can be on everything from spreads to player props and more. Visit FanDuel.com/Dom. Kick off the NFL season with an offer you don't want to miss. FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of 1210 WPHT. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. You have to be 21 plus. Present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager. Only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problems, 1-800-GAMBLER. NFL Sunday ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds, terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account, current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime. Dom Giordano Show. Welcome in. We told you we spoke with State Senator Joe Panaccio. I remember meeting him at a big event in South Jersey, gave a great speech, and we talked with him about his medical career as a dentist and how he was talking about hydrochloroquine at that point. He's with us now, though, because of this startling, out of the blue Department of Justice scathing report on what happened during COVID and military veterans' homes in Paramus, I believe, in Menlo Park. State Senator, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us, Joe. And what is the reaction there in Trenton and your reaction to hearing this about the Murphy administration?
Well, first of all, there's no surprise at all, Don. And although the report was limited to the veterans home, Menlo Park and Vineland and Paramus, New Jersey was in charge of over 500 nursing homes. So the same issues that caused over 10,000 people to die in those nursing homes were just exacerbated. And this is a problem that I have. During COVID, the administration came out and said, well, there's a lot of bad actors in these nursing homes. That's a reason that people were passing away. And yet, Menlo Park and Vineland and Paramus, the veterans nursing homes, they're under the total 100% control of the state of New Jersey. So obviously they forgot to give themselves the memo. Not a surprise at all. If you just apply common sense, forget about medical protocol, just common sense. You don't force a virus into a frail and elderly community and lock the doors and then expect anything except something horrific happening. The protocols, infection protocols weren't followed. They didn't use or they lacked the proper masks and other protective gears. People were, the staff was going from one nursing home to another nursing home, taking the disease with them. And unfortunately, just within April alone, almost 200 people died in those two nursing homes, Menlo Park and Paramus, that they investigated. That's about as many people that died during the entire year. And the sad thing is, they didn't even bother counting them. They said, well, April, we really weren't testing, so we can't say that they died of COVID. Well, what did they think they died of?
Yeah, and Joe, I'd say this way. You got to give some ground on it was a new thing that was happening the first couple weeks. But after a while, that common sense thing you just said, well, wait a minute, this is a virus. These people are most prone to it, frail, elderly. Joe, what is it that was driving it, though? Is it just they didn't care in some instances? I remember with Cuomo, too, they were going to keep the hospitals operational. But how in the world do you think you can put him in with people who are, under the gun disease-wise to start with?
Yeah, I can't answer what was driving them. It wasn't common sense. You opened up the prisons, you let prisoners out because they knew that a virus in a confined area could spread and could harm them. So why didn't they apply that same thinking to nursing homes? They just didn't. And then, by the way, they knew way before April that this affected the frail and elderly. The initial onset of COVID, if I remember, in this country was nursing home in Washington State, where 7 or 8 people immediately died. If you look, it affected Europe, the average age, 80, 81, where? Nursing homes. So they knew that the frail and elderly was most susceptible. What New Jersey did, which was abhorrent to me, is they absolutely refused for them to be tested, and you could not deny them admittance into a nursing home. So they were forcing that virus into the nursing home, and then they couldn't get out. They were locking the door. But they opened the prisoners. Why didn't they give them the same courtesy of if there was a loved one that wanted to take care of their parent or elderly, why couldn't they take them home?
Well, Joe, what the bottom line is nationally, but Jersey's an epicenter. We have not had a reckoning on decisions that were made, and you were on the cutting edge of the other side, trying to find things to give people choice like hydrochloroquine. And now we've found out that ivermectin, for a lot of people, did have value. It wasn't just horse medicine and the rest. We found out that lockdowns didn't work. Masking didn't work in almost all instances. We need to have a debate and an accounting on this. Otherwise, they're going to continue to push these things.
Don, we've tried. We were promised by then Senate President Steve Sweeney a committee with investigative and subpoena powers to get to the bottom of exactly what was done. There was good that was done, and there was bad that was done. We'd expand on the good, and certainly we don't want to repeat the bad. That committee never happened. We've tried on 6 different occasions to bring that up, have the full Senate vote to actually override the decision not to do it, and 6 different times the Democrats on the other side of the aisle refused. They circled the wagons for this governor. They refused to put any type of oversight at all. So now the governor's having an outside agency, an outside law firm, charging God knows how much, by the way. I think it's a Philadelphia law firm. And we never even put our own due diligence in it. Why? How could 10,000 people die in nursing homes and you don't even ask a question? I don't know if you recall Bridgegate, where there were a number of cones that were set up, traffic was diverted. Immediately, we had a bipartisan committee with subpoena power to investigate the then Governor Chris Christie. No, nobody died.
What is it with this? What is it with this guy? There's no charm to this guy, Joe. I will tell you, there's nothing about him that says Jersey. He's a carpetbagger. He's awkward at best and at times, and he's authoritarian in his own goofy way.
I think most of his advice that he got under science advice when it came to COVID was more political science than anything else. The only thing that he may have been concerned about is whether or not his favorable, unfavorable numbers were dropping. They named a building after the former commissioner of health, who was in charge of all this nonsense. They actually named a building after her without having one committee meeting with subpoena power oversight to investigate what she did, if she did it right, if she did it wrong. She was warned, by the way, Tom. There was somebody that was secretly tape recording a message and it played in the New Jersey Star Ledger. She had a conversation, or it wasn't she, it was the administration, had a conversation with the administrators of the nursing homes. And they weren't happy about the edicts, about forcing these people in. They said, if you follow through, if you do this, people will die. And people died. And there was no reckoning at all.
Well, Joe, I can't tell you how thrilled we are every time we talk with you and get you on. And particularly, people understand, Holly Shapizi, you, and the several others we have. There are Republicans, I know for a fact, you fighting hard, Testa, people like that. This election coming up, we're going to take more areas back, at least here in South Jersey. And someday, if there's any faith, there's going to be a majority and some of these things are going to get done. Until then, I realize they can do one thing, Democrats in Trenton, circle the wagons.
Well, that's what they've done. And unfortunately, this should not be a political issue, Dom. We should get to the bottom of this because I promise you, there's going to be other pandemics, other things and infectious issues that are going to invade and affect our nursing homes. Don't we want to know what we should and shouldn't be doing for the future?
Yep, exactly right. Thank you, Joe. Have a nice weekend. Appreciate it very much.
You too, Don.
Senator Joe Panaccio here. I was going to say to him, Dan, but I know he was on a timeline. All right. You had Judy. Remember Judy? Hey, what did Judy say about it? Or Pat. Pat was the state cop who was locking everybody else. Remember that guy, the head of the state troopers?
Yeah.
Pat, Judy. I think I would take Judy, though. Who did we have then, Dan? Rachel Levine. I might take Judy's advice over Rachel Levine. My God. Remember those conferences? The Cuomo one, they said he was a genius.
It was Judy Persichilli, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wolves were worse. You didn't get to ask the follow-up question. Then we had the good afternoon woman.
Oh, yeah.
She at least gave us, a good deal of pleasure over the course.
Afternoon.
Oh,
Good afternoon.
And that's not made up. That's how she addressed people at the first conference. My God. I said right there, we got a star. Why did she have to go? All right, give me a reaction to that. It is what you would expect. Pushing to have a national reckoning. I'm not hearing it during the political campaigns, though. Now, Republicans have maybe people don't care. We've moved past it. Now, all of a sudden, we're hearing back to school, more COVID stuff. There has to be a reckoning of who did what, who was right, who was authoritarian, all that stuff. You heard Marty McCary this week. Brilliant stuff. The Cochrane report about masking, the lockdown report. We know these things now beyond any kind of consensus. We know what happened in Jersey. And you got to give some ground. It was new in the beginning. We all said that. But after a short period of time, this was just murder. That's what it came down to. hard to even understand the politics of it, really. All right, phone lines, 855-839-1210. That's how you get in. Hey, September is Cholesterol Education Month. It's time to take charge. So how is your cholesterol? For over 38 years, Rescue Natural Supplements has been a trusted partner in cholesterol support. I've relied on Rescue supplements for years, and with Rescue, you'll find specific supplements tailored to your needs. Favorites like omega-3s, red yeast rice, and more. And right now, all you have to do is just use the code DROP, D-R-O-P, to double up your order on any cholesterol product for free. Call them today at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant or use the code online when you visit res-q.com. res-q.com. Again, use the code DROP, D-R-O-P. You buy one, you get a matching Rescue cholesterol product for free. Now, I've personally seen the firsthand benefits of Rescue supplements. They're incredible. Remember, use the code DROP, D-R-O-P, to double up your cholesterol support order for free, and do it today. Dom Giordano Show. Curtis Sliwa here at 2 o'clock today to take you inside what's happening in the illegal immigrant situation in New York. It's been arrested at least once or twice around it. Always great to talk with him. All right. Just seeing as we head toward the first full week Sunday of NFL. Now there's more information today, Dan, that a Soros-funded group, we apparently didn't know this before, was the chief funder and pushing changing the Redskins name to the now Commanders.
Unsurprising.
Soros again. Now, look, they promised when Trump was in office, Republicans ever want to drill down, is Soros doing anything illegal with all of his machinations? I'm not convinced they actually did drill down, though, and looked at this, and now the Sun, as thoroughly as possible. It's a one-man wrecking crew, and the Sun is even more. I think the Sun has visited the White House 30 times, 40 times in one report. Much more energy, younger, carrying on. Now it's two of them doing this.
I remember Alex at some point on Instagram posted a picture of the 3 flags above the UN saying, I can't wait to see, or all the flags above the UN saying, I can't wait till all these flags fall or something like that. He's like even more blatant than his father is.
Yeah. Which is good because the father, can operate a little bit behind the scenes more. It's harder to ferret it out. Then, of course, you're accused of anti-Semitism if you bring any of this up. Well, they funded this group, the Redskin name change, all this nonsense over it. I don't care. Daniel Snyder was the problem there. I don't care what they're named. But to see idiots on TV saying the Washington team when they were still the Redskins and all. Phil Simms, people like the clowns like that. Yeah.
So the name that they settled on, the Commanders, where do you stand on that? Are you a fan?
It's the most tepid, blah thing imaginable. The Commanders.
I love that, like when you shorten the name, it's the Commies.
Yeah, there you go. That works. Yeah. Oh, maybe we'll have a rooting interest.
Maybe I'm going to ditch the Eagles and Dan the Reds.
Dan the Red will be the cheerleader for that.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any other name right now, but you never know that could be taken. Can you imagine all these Democrat light types that go to Eagles games?
Oh, I know what's next.
What's next?
It was yesterday. You kidding me? The tomahawk chop of the Chiefs?
Oh, well, no, nobody says anything.
No one says anything.
They let him get
next.
away with it.
You know it's going to go away soon.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, to be honest. No, but I'm not taking it away. If you want to be an idiot,
an entire stadium together.
No,
I think it's a cool sight.
Midwestern clowns.
It's not even theirs. It's Florida State's.
Well, that's true. Or the Atlanta Braves. Yeah. But imagine if there was some dispute over the Eagles. What would happen if they try to change that? Oh, my God. By the way, a lot of brisk action on Twitter. I'm not sure if they're buying it, but people are liking, Dan, on the station's now merchandise shop, the hoodie. I've seen the pricing on the T-shirt and all, and the Nick Cale T-shirt, the Zioli Army T-shirt. But we're the only one that has the hoodie there. I haven't seen a price up on that. I see the picture. Got to get that for the wintertime with Dom time and the Krasnerland shirt.
It's a Breaking T, the letter T. So breakingt.com/WPHT.
All right. So you don't have the price, do you, on the...
It's at $55.
Oh, okay. Premium item.
Yes.
All right. I can hardly wait to wear that one. I wear it every day during the winter for the noon hour. All right. We got a great side question today. Today is National Star Trek Day. We've gone through some of that. Hit us with that all-time sci-fi character. Let's go to Tom in Percy. Hey, Tom, good afternoon. Who do you have?
Hey, good afternoon. Hey, I just to preface it, the guy's daughter's name was Judy, who you just mentioned. His wife made one of the greatest, very profound statement of Jane, stop the world. And that would be George Jetson. Meet Jane, his wife, his boy Elroy, and I think he was the #1 employee of Spacely Sprockets.
He was, without a doubt. Very good
So
stuff.
good to see him on Sunday morning.
Good stuff. All right, George Jetson.
You're a fan of Jetsons? So Jetsons or Flintstones, if you had to pick one between the two?
Flintstones, far superior.
I'm a Jetsons guy.
Oh, yeah. It's, much more creativity. Look, you got the future to work with. We don't know what it is, right?
I think there's more creativity in predicting the future than there is, making, dinosaurs turn on TVs.
All right, how about Yabba Dabba Doo?
It's true, yeah.
All right, coming up, big 1 o'clock hour. We'll get you set. What's good to be watching, TV, film, entertainment with Scott Cronick a little bit later on. But coming up, and I saw this from our friends over at New Jersey Project, we're back to school, the North Burlington schools. They ask kids a question about pronouns. Not what is the possessive case, or what do you do if it's an indirect object? What kind of pronoun do you use then? Oh, no. This is about the dreaded pronoun question in Don't Tell Your Parents. There's even a little caveat here. Use these pronouns in school, but not if you talk to my mom or dad. I'll give you the details on that next. First day of school. They got all this accomplished in a half day? Oh, yeah. Straight ahead here at Dom on Talk Radio 1210.